Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC. Do I regret the time that I gave him?
Yes.
Listen, if you look at what he's accomplished in the sport, no. It is what it is. I obviously feel bad for Tom.
Dana White explodes over Jon Jones's retirement, slamming the UFC legend as a runaway quitter. He ran off. That's how Dana White framed it. After months of anticipation, debate, and fan frustration, the long and complicated saga of Jon Jones's return has come to an end, not in grand fashion inside the octagon, but with a phone call. The UFC's most polarizing superstar, widely considered the greatest fighter of all time, has officially retired, and it hasn't gone unnoticed, nor without backlash.
What's happening here? Oh, fuck. I'm being told Jon Jones has retired. Hey, you're on air, so be careful what you say here. You're telling me Jon Jones has retired?
I'm telling you that Dana White just said it. He spoke to him last night, and Jon Jones is retired, and Tom Aspinall is now the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion.
Are they saying when Tom is coming back?
No, that's why I started texting you.
Okay. Let me know if they just say when he's coming back or who he's fighting or whatever.
Okay.
All right.
I'll send a message.
All right, thanks.
Jones's retirement comes at a pivotal moment in the UFC's heavyweight division. Despite Tom Aspinall holding the interim title, fans had been clamoring for a unification bout, a proper clash to determine the division's true king. But Jones made it clear that he had no intentions of facing Aspinall. That refusal led to widespread criticism, with fans launching a viral petition demanding that the UFC strip him of the title.
I don't think it's going to happen, I don't think Tom wants it. I don't think Jon wants anything to do with it. I think Jon gets a lot of money for being champion. I think the sponsors and that are paying him a fortune. And I think he's just dragging along, keeping the belt as long as possible because it's worth that much money to him. I don't think he's got any intention of doing the fight at all. I think he's just going to drag it out as long as he can till he gets stripped. You never know, he might come back. I reckon he would if Tom did get beat, he would jump for joy and he'd fight the guy who beat him. But Tom's not going to get beat, and I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that. I think it's just not happening at all. But you never know. But I think it was going to happen. Jon would have said yes by now, and he's just partying.
After months of rumors, trolling on social media, and uncertainty, UFC CEO Dana White finally confirmed during the post-fight press conference at the company's debut event in Baku, Azerbaijan, that Jon Jones had made his decision. He was done. Jones had called White directly to say he was relinquishing the UFC heavyweight title and stepping away from the sport for good. That officially handed over the full title to Aspinall, who had already been holding the interim belt.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
White, who had previously tried to downplay concerns about Jones's hesitancy, admitted that no amount of coaxing could bring him back. The UFC CEO, though disappointed in the way things unfolded, didn't regret the time he gave Jones to make his decision, citing the fighter's legendary career and contributions to the sport. Still, White acknowledged that it was unfair to Tom Aspinall, who had been patiently waiting and losing valuable time and money during the prolonged standoff.
Do I regret the time that I gave him?
Yes.
Listen, if you look at what he's accomplished in the sport, no. It is what it is. I obviously feel bad for Tom that he lost all that time and obviously money, but we'll make it up to him. Tom Aspinall's a good guy. He's been incredible through this whole process that we've gone through. He's been willing to do anything, fight him anywhere at any time and do this, and now he's like, I'll fight anybody. You tell me who and I'll fight him. So Aspinall's been great. He's going to be a great heavyweight champion for us, and I'm excited to work with him.
Now Aspinall is the undisputed heavyweight champion, and he seems ready to take on the mantle with enthusiasm. Posting briefly on Instagram, he reassured fans that it was time to move the division forward and promised to be an active fighting champion. While his rise came amid chaos, Aspinall seems determined to set a new tone for the division. He stated, "For you fans, it's time to get this heavyweight division going, an active, undisputed champion." The reaction from around the MMA world came swiftly, particularly from one of Jones's fiercest rivals, Daniel Cormier. Cormier, who has never minced words when it comes to Jones, didn't hold back this time either. He expressed disbelief that Jones retired so quickly and bluntly labeled his decision as quitting. According to Cormier, by walking away from a fight that could have defined his heavyweight legacy, Jones effectively quit on a career that had shaped his entire adult life.
Jon Jones just walked away. Dana White announced it after the UFC Fight Night in Baku, Azerbaijan. Said he is officially retired and Tom Aspinall is the UFC heavyweight champion. Unbelievable. I didn't think that it was going to happen this fast. I mean, Jones then puts out a statement that said, "Today, I'm officially announcing my retirement from the UFC. The decision comes after a lot of reflection, and I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for the journey I've experienced over the years." And boy, what a journey it has been. But here's the deal, guys, and I'm going to tell you this right now. I said, if Jon Jones doesn't fight this guy, Jon Jones quit. If Jon Jones does not fight Tom Aspinall, he quit. Because he will walk away from something that has defined his entire adult life.
Cormier clarified that his critique wasn't rooted in bitterness or resentment. In fact, he acknowledged Jones's right to a peaceful life with his family, enjoying the fruits of his success. But for him, the fact remained that Jones avoided a challenge, and that alone opened up legitimate questions about his motivations. Whether it was fear or strategy, Cormier said, the result was the same. He didn't step in the cage to face Aspinall.
And honestly, I'm not mad that this young man has a life with his family and they got money and they got all these great things. It does not change the fact that by not stepping in that octagon, he quit. He didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. It's so surprising. Is he scared? No. But by not fighting Aspinall, he opened a conversation. He lets you, every one of you, question why he doesn't fight him. I told you guys, when you are 37, 38, 39, it's much different looking in the mirror than you are at 28, 29 years old, like he was when he was fighting us. You're a different human being.
Cormier even suggested that Jones might return if Aspinall suffers a loss, painting a picture where Jones's retirement isn't about stepping away from the sport entirely, but more about avoiding a particular matchup. He speculated that this could all be a strategic move, either on Jones's part or even orchestrated with the UFC. Whatever the reason, Cormier insisted, if legacy matters to Jones, then this decision only complicates it further.
Jon Jones is done. I don't know if this is tactics by the UFC. I don't know that this is frustrations with Jon Jones. I don't know what this is. Does it feel like the end completely? I hope it does, because if he cares about his legacy, he doesn't want to be sitting there beating up on guys that may get past Tom Aspinall. They gave him the money. They agreed to everything, and he still just would not do it. I'm going to bed. I'm tired. Like this, my head's spinning. It was crazy.
In Jones's official retirement statement shared on social media just hours after White's announcement, the former champion reflected on his journey. He thanked the UFC, his fans, and his fellow fighters for their support and for being part of his long and storied career. From his historic title win as the youngest UFC champion to countless battles against some of the sport's best, Jones described his career as one filled with highs, lows, and valuable lessons. He said, "Today, I'm officially announcing my retirement from the UFC. This decision comes after a lot of reflection, and I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for the journey I've experienced over the years. From the first time I stepped into the octagon, my goal was to push the boundaries of what was possible in this sport, becoming the youngest UFC champion in history, defending my title against some of the best fighters in the world, and sharing unforgettable moments with fans across the globe. These are memories I'll cherish forever. I've faced incredible highs and some tough lows, but every challenge has taught me something valuable and made me stronger, both as a fighter and as a person." He said he was proud of what he had accomplished and was ready for new challenges outside the cage. For Jones, this retirement seemed like a personal closure, a moment of peace, but not everyone saw it that way. He added, "Thank you for bringing out the best in me and for the respect we've shared inside and outside the cage. As I close this chapter of my life, I look forward to new opportunities and challenges ahead. MMA will always be a part of who I am, and I'm excited to see how I can continue to contribute to the sport and inspire others in new ways. Thank you all for being part of this incredible journey with me. The best is yet to come. MMA journalist Ariel Helwani shared a different perspective, calling the entire situation and how it played out an embarrassment. For Helwani, the fact that Jon Jones's legendary career ended not with a blockbuster fight, but with a quiet announcement in a press conference halfway across the world in Azerbaijan was baffling and underwhelming. He believed that both Jones and the UFC mishandled the situation.
The fact that the illustrious career of Jon Jones, the supposed greatest of all time, ends at a post-fight press conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, is a joke. Is an absolute joke. I'm sorry, but this is an absolute joke. Tom Aspinall is going to Las Vegas. At the very least, present him the title. At the very least, do something to make it up for this guy who has been sitting there watching his career just waste away for the past 7 months. Oh, by the way, his last fight was almost a year ago, 11 months. Do something. This is the way it happens. This is the way it happens. Something that could have happened at the post-fight press conference in New York. Jon Jones never wanted to take this fight.
Helwani took aim at the UFC for failing to provide Aspinall with a moment worthy of a champion. No ceremony, no formal presentation of the title, not even a definitive announcement before the event. He called out the promotion for allowing Aspinall's career to sit idle for nearly a year, all while waiting on a fight that never materialized.
That he was out. Dana White told us a couple of weeks ago. What did he say? Jon Jones agreed. But I told you all, he wasn't telling you the real story. He wasn't telling you the full story. The full story was he agreed and then he reneged. Dana White guaranteed this fight would happen. He guaranteed it would happen as recently as a couple of weeks ago. It was already not a thing. The way in which this has been handled has not been great. And the fact that Tom Aspinall, at the very least, couldn't get some sort of, oh, here's the belt, here's a ceremony, here's your fight, here's your date, is shameful. Now, ultimately, Tom doesn't care about any of this. He really doesn't. He just wants to fight. It was never about Jon Jones. As I've said time and again, Jon Jones was a great...
According to Helwani, the story behind the scenes was even more telling. He claimed Jones was never truly interested in fighting Aspinall, despite asking for and receiving a hefty payday. Helwani said Jones backed out of the fight days after agreeing to turn. While Dana White continued to publicly assure fans the fight was happening, Helwani suggested the UFC knew for months that Jones was out and had been trying in vain to lure him back for one final bout.
The fact that the illustrious career of Jon Jones, the supposed greatest of all time, ends at a post-fight press conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, is a joke. Is an absolute joke. I'm sorry, but this is an absolute joke. Tom Aspinall is going to Las Vegas. At the very least, present him the title. At the very least, do something to make it up for this guy who has been sitting there watching his career just waste away for the past 7 months. Oh, by the way, his last fight was almost a year ago, 11 months. Do something. This is the way it happens. This is the way it happens. Something that could have happened at the post-fight press conference in New York. Jon Jones never wanted to take this fight. And anyone who tells you otherwise is not telling you the truth. As I've said time and again, Jon Jones asked for a lot of money. He asked for the number that everyone was talking about. He's asked for a lot of money, and as I said time and again, he deserved that money. He earned that money. After much negotiation, the UFC got him that money. Did they ask for help? That remains to be seen, but they got him the number. And Jon Jones said he was in. And then a couple of days later, he said he was out. And ever since then, the UFC has been trying to convince him to come back, to take the fight, one last fight, and he said no. He's doing the reality show.
For Helwani, this wasn't about fear of fighting in general. He pointed out that Jones was interested in facing big names like Francis Ngannou and Alex Pereira, but when those options fell through, the enthusiasm disappeared. Helwani saw it as a calculated decision. Retire undefeated at heavyweight without risking a potential loss to a young and dangerous opponent like Aspinall.
Jon Jones fought Ciryl Gane for a vacant title. He didn't even beat the real champ, who was Francis Ngannou. And then When he got hurt, he waited a full extra year to fight Stipe. The fight didn't make sense a year prior. He fought him a year later, and it still didn't make sense. And then when it was time to fight the interim champion, he campaigned for Alex Pereira. And then when Alex Pereira lost, he campaigned for Francis Ngannou. This was never about not wanting to fight. This was a calculated business decision on Jon Jones's end to say, hey, I could walk away undefeated. I could walk away as the man. And so he is. He's walking away because he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. Because if Francis Ngannou was there or Alex Pereira was there, he'd be trying to fight those guys. He's made that very clear. He doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. And so Tom Aspinall can walk around now with his chest up, chin up, and say, I retired Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall retired Jon Jones.
In comparing Jones to another all-time great, Helwani named Georges St-Pierre as the true example of how a champion should exit the sport. GSP, he said, never held up divisions, never avoided contenders, and made clean exits when the time was right. He left without leaving others in limbo and returned years later to claim another title before bowing out once more with grace and respect for the structure of the sport.
Look at me, look at the stars have aligned for me. But ultimately, this guy just wanted to become champion. He wanted to prove he was the best. And by the way, he has been the best for the last couple of years. Yesterday, I spoke to GSP, and I told GSP, and that interview is going to air on Monday. We spoke to him at Fanatics Fest. He did it the best. Again, compare what he did to what Jon Jones did. And this is one of many reasons why I consider GSP the greatest of all time.
GSP relinquished his belt the night he retired. He didn't make others wait. When he returned, he beat the reigning champion and exited again, never ducking fights, never making it about anything other than the competition. In contrast, Helwani felt that Jones, who only won the vacant heavyweight title against Cyril Gane, not a reigning champion like Ngannou, didn't solidify his legacy at heavyweight in the same way.
When GSP beat Johnny Hendricks at UFC 167, he relinquished the belt that night. He didn't hold up anyone. He didn't stop anyone from living out their dreams. And in case you're wondering, that's a part of the fight game too. Time-honored tradition. The train rolls along. He comes back 4 years later to fight Michael Bisping. Gives up the belt. 2-3 weeks later, he's diagnosed with colitis. He beat Michael Bisping, who was the undisputed champion at the time. He didn't beat some interim champ or fight for a vacant title, and he didn't hold up the division. That's how you do it. Not this.
Through all of this, one thing is clear. Tom Aspinall has become the new face of the heavyweight division, not by beating Jones in the cage, but by outlasting the drama and stepping into the void Jones left behind. He's ready to fight, stay active, and restore order to a division long held in limbo. Whether Jones ever returns remains uncertain, but for now, the UFC moves on with a new champion, a fresh storyline, and a heavyweight division finally freed from its shadow.
I appreciate that the UFC finally cut it off. They finally put an end to this. It couldn't have gone on much longer. It just reached absurd levels where John is drinking seltzer on a Milk Boys podcast, and I'm not gonna fight again. And he's slurring his words and shit, and you're like, dude, this is the state of the heavyweight championship. Like, they had to put a stop to it. But Tom lost all this time, and you're like, who could he have fought? It doesn't matter. He could have been making money. He could have been adding to his legacy. He could have been doing something. Better to do that than the alternative, which is just f***ing around this way. But I'll tell you what, Tom Aspinall was right. Tom Aspinall said, I'm going to retire him without ever fighting him. He sure did, didn't he? Boy, he sure did.
As Jon Jones's retirement remains a topic of discussion, Robert Whitaker and Johnny Roses analyzed the future of Tom Aspinall. Johnny pointed out that Aspinall has already proven himself by defeating top fighters like Curtis Blades and Alexander Volkov, and now it's crucial for him to decide who he should face next. With Robert Whitaker also sharing his perspective, it's clear that while the future looks optimistic for Aspinall, key decisions lie ahead.
I get it. I get it. Like, I think he is more deserving, and the UFC said he was going to do right by him, but he's beaten Volkov through submission of all things, right? Like, you've got Jailton Almeida, he's beaten Curtis Blades, there's Marcin Tybura that he's beaten. Like, who the hell is he fighting? Am I missing someone?
There's no one left.
Let me pull up the rankings, man. It's just it's a quite stark future for the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Pavlovich, he starts, so I guess it's Gane or Volkov, really, that's next, and then Almeida after that. Oh, this is so depressing.
Yeah, I'm keen to see Gane. I'm I'm curious to see how that fight plays out.
Sharing his thoughts on the John Jones situation, Lucas Tracy weighed in with his perspective. He pointed out that John Jones isn't really retired, he's just messing with people. Tracy referenced a tweet from Jones where he claimed he has the ability to pop up and show up again whenever he chooses. Lucas believes that Jones is neither ducking nor retiring, but is simply hyping up the drama and excitement surrounding his career.
People need to relax about the John Jones situation. He is not retired and he's not ducking Aspinall. He's simply just gonna, go with the flow, and when he wants to, he's gonna pop out and show him, man. It's not that he's ducking Tom. He's just gonna pop out and show him, man. He's been doing that his whole career, and he has the ability to beat anyone on any given night, any way he wants. And maybe Aspinall defends the belt a couple more times, sails off into the sunset. Jones is going to pop out and show us when he comes back to fight. A big, fat, tubby heavyweight with absolutely zero grappling defense. Jones is not retired. Of course, I'm just messing around, guys.
Lucas suggested that John Jones is subtly telling fans he's retired without officially saying it, making it as clear as it possibly could be without a formal announcement.
John Jones is basically telling us without telling us that he is as retired as they could possibly get.
And just like that, one of the most legendary and controversial chapters in UFC history comes to a close. John Jones walks away, not with his gloves in the cage, but with questions swirling and a new king rising in Tom Aspinall. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more unfiltered takes on the biggest stories in MMA, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this the right move by Jones, or did Aspinall retire the GOAT? Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update on the Fight Game's fiercest rivalries.